Baldwin is in Beaufort County, where he spoke to members of the Highway Patrol and has a look at the road conditions heading into the overnight hours. Michael?
Hey, Christine, yeah, the Highway Patrol is saying, listen, if you don't have to go out tonight, then stay home, because they said the roads are going to get a lot worse. We're talking about some of even the good roads we're talking about, where you still have some of that melted ice that could turn into black ice as that ice begins to freeze. They're also talking about some of these secondary roads over here. We're over here on American Legion Road over here in Beaufort County. As you can see, there's still plenty of snow and there's plenty of ice that is over here. One of the questions you might want to know is, how do you drive in situations like this? Well, we talked to a member of the Highway Patrol, and here's what he had to say.
Live at Michael.
Christine, you should have heard this place just moments ago as these fans erupted when they scored a touchdown. Folks here say, win or lose, it's been an exciting year.
Live from Greenville now with more. Michael?
Dave and Christine, firefighters looking to ignite their concerns about space heaters. They're saying if you have one of these, be careful.
Is live at the scene and has the latest information. Michael, how's it going out there?
It's going all right, Natalie. First of all, the fire is still under investigation. The only person that was injured was a student named Matt Lawler. He suffered burn injuries to his knee, but we understand he's going to be okay. We did get some amateur video from a person who took video of the scene just as it happened after 6 o'clock this morning.
Baldwin was there and joins us from our Greenville studio with more. Michael?
Christine, Dave, to deal with all the animals, Wayne County called in the Humane Society of the United States. Now, this is nothing new to them, considering one of the last high-profile cases they worked on was Michael Vick's. 300 dogs. That's how many authorities say were rounded up in a raid executed by Wayne County Animal Control and the Humane Society of the United States.
This was a classic puppy mill operation. We respond to roughly a puppy mill each month. And, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the worst we've seen, I would put this as about a 7 or an 8.
Animal Control in Wayne County says they've been investigating what they call a puppy mill since December of 2007. After collecting enough evidence, they got a civil injunction against the kennel owner. Lawmen say the owner of the dogs, Virginia Thornton, came under investigation after complaints from people who bought her dogs, saying the animals were in horrible condition.
We're seeing some things such as dental disease, matted hair with feces, and things of that nature as well.
It took 3 trips for Animal Control and the Humane Society to round up all 300 dogs, from Chihuahuas to Shih Tzus to Dachshunds, among others. Although Thornton nor any of her family would share their thoughts on the animal neglect charges raised by authorities, her neighbor, who says he bought 2 dogs from her, says Animal Control officials have it all wrong. So we asked, what is she like?
She's a very good person. I mean, she'll do anything for you. She's very good to the dogs. Like I said, what they say is totally wrong, I feel.
These pictures, officials say, tell a very different story.
These animals are suffering. And today, because of our efforts and because of this incredible investigation by Officer Scally of the Wayne County government, these animals will suffer no longer.
The Humane Society of the United States says this is the first raid of a puppy mill they've done this year in the U.S. Animal Control tells us there is no law in North Carolina which makes owning a puppy mill illegal. Right now, officials say Thornton is looking at animal neglect charges.
In Dare County at the crash scene and joins us now live in the studio with more. Michael?
Dave, a member of the Highway Patrol tells us that the homeowner, his wife and daughter were all sitting down having dinner when the plane came crashing down. Now it seems that everyone in town wants to come and check out the action. It has become the hottest ticket in town. Everyone jamming the street just to get a glimpse of the house, which has a plane sitting on it.
I mean, this is big news. I mean, I'm sorry it happened, but I mean, this is sad.
Well, people were concerned that the people that were involved were safe, and we were thankful that they were. Valerie and I were just talking about it at lunch and just thought we'd ride over and see what was going on.
Just making sure that the people were okay, everyone involved, and being glad that especially the pilot and his passenger were safe.
The single-engine Piper plane crashed around 6 o'clock Tuesday night. As it was coming in for a landing, the plane hit some trees, came crashing into this home. Now pieces of the plane are spread out in the backyard. A member of the Highway Patrol tells us that the plane had circled around the landing strip once before crashing, trying to make re-entry. That home that it hit is about 300 yards from the landing strip, which is just beyond these woods.
I want some love.
Suzanne Overman, who says she works for the homeowner John Bartell, came to see if he and his family needed a place to stay.
My parents' house, the upstairs is completely empty. We're all grown and moved out, and there's several bedrooms and a den and a bath, so they could have a lot of room if they need that, and we just wanted to offer that to them and bless them.
The pilot and his son were taken to a local hospital, and it is believed that they suffered no life-threatening injuries. The plane crash is still under investigation, although some say bad weather may have been a factor. Dave, Christine?
All right, Michael, thanks.
The chief says if you are going to use a space heater, he recommends that you use one of the newer ones, which he says are a lot safer and more sensitive to the touch.
Greenville on Summit Street, where the fire happened, and has more. Michael?
Dave, the cause of the fire is still under investigation, and although no one was seriously injured, for many of these fraternity members, today is a day they will never forget. This amateur video captured the scene as it was happening just after 6 o'clock Friday morning. The Sigma Phi Epsilon residential house on Summit Street in Greenville was up in flames.
Well, my buddy Matt Lawler, he lives in the front room right there, actually where the couch, like the room right next to where the couch started on fire. He said he was asleep. He said he wakes up and he sees his door completely covered in flames, and he has time to make it out the window. And
Preston Banta's friend, seen here with a bandage on his knee, was the only one taken to the hospital, according to Fire and Rescue. It's believed he suffered only minor burns. David Perry says when he walked by the frat house, he saw people like Lawler jumping off the carport onto the roof of this Acura. He knew it was time to lend a helping hand.
There were two guys who were standing on the roof on the back porch, or the back story of the house, and I climbed up on a rail and helped them. They slid down my body onto the porch, and they handed me down their dog.
The fire department says 9 people were in the house when it went up in flames. All made it out alive, including 2 dogs, but the third dog, Lawler's puppy, died. Firefighters say when they got to the scene, they saw people trying to put out the blaze themselves. They told people they had to step back and let them take over.
They were trying to actually suppress the fire with trash cans full of water at the front of the structure, and we had to pretty much force them back so we could do our job.
All right, the displaced students will be able to stay in residential housing for free until they can find another place to live. That is the story here. We're live in Greenville. I'm Michael Baldwin, WITN News.
All right, thanks, Michael.
Baldwin was in Martin County and joins us now live from our Greenville studio with people's reaction to the storm damage. Michael?
Christine, emergency management officials say the damage caused by the 70 to 80 mile-an-hour straight-line winds was contained to just a few areas. Residents came together, all sharing a similar story. Linda Matthews' Slade Street home in Williamston was hit by a tree. She was lucky. She had plenty of neighbors who offered to help remove it, but it's a day she'll never forget.
But the wind was like blowing. It had gotten so dark and everything that you couldn't hardly even see out here. It was just like, and the wind was still like moving, and trash cans was flying and every which way. And it's just been one of them times.
Strong winds slammed the old Ford Motor Building on Washington Street. Little 7-year-old Mallory Sadler says she was ready as she describes the action.
Boom! And then you hear wind going, and then I said, let's get in the vault.
And Mallory had the presence to say, Mom says, when there's a storm, go to the vault. And we actually hid in a bank vault.
Part of the roof to the building ended up hitting Mary Knight's home. Debris greeted her when she got home from work. It also filled the streets along with down power lines and cops giving directions. Mary says she's one of the 100 residents in Robertsonville and Williamston without power. She says now she's wondering what is she going to do.
I hope they had the lights fixed, I'm telling you the truth. But I haven't even thought about, later.
Straight line winds also hit this tobacco barn in Robertsonville. The owner says he expects the damage to be near $15,000. And down the street from Mary Knight's home, we found another in Williamston that had an unwelcome visitor, or was it?
Actually, I was really excited because I thought it was fun, because it was something finally interesting happening in town for a change.
Brent says he's a college student, so the cleanup is something for his parents to handle.